Hey guys, welcome to the webinar. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to be covering the service reminders and the emails that Service Intelligence generates. So just to begin here, what you see in front of you here is the splash screen that comes with Service Intelligence when you first open it up and you haven't selected any of the tools or features inside of Service Intelligence. This picture of all these people standing around is actually a picture that's a pretty good indication of what Service Intelligence is doing at any given moment in time. So you can imagine that as your customers come to and from your shop, they're somewhere on this track, unless they're not an active current customer, in which case they're up here in purgatory in the upper corner. So when your customers are in front of you at your front counter, you can imagine that they are at your point of sale. This is your service tracking point of sale. But once they leave the point of sale, Service Intelligence will automatically kick in by sending out the automated emails that come in the form of the thank yous, declined work or recommended work, the service reminders, as well as appointment reminders. Now underneath each of these you'll notice it says up to 4, up to 2, up to 3, up to 1. The reason for this is because this is a self-correcting system that automatically cuts itself off if the customer responds to the first email in the chain, or the second one, or the third in this case. So thank you cards don't apply. Obviously, once they leave the shop, we say thank you for coming in. Please leave us a review. We appreciate it. We'll send them to your microsite or your review site, wherever you might have it, and solicit a review from them at that point. But declined work reminders, perhaps the customer needs to be notified that they have service that is still pending for their vehicle. The reason why it says up to 3 contacts here is because Service Intelligence is persistent. It'll say at the 30-day mark after their visit, hey, this work is still pending on your vehicle. If they don't respond 30 days later, Service Intelligence will give them a second reminder saying, hey, this is still something you should take care of. If they still don't respond, we'll send them the third one, which is 90 days total after their visit. I'll say, hey, just wanted to let you know this is still something you need to pay attention to. Of course, if the customer responds to the first or even the second one, the rest of the emails in the chain get cut off. You can imagine that's because the customer goes straight from the declined work back to the service, the point of sale, and the cycle starts over again. Now, these intervals where it says up to 3 contacts and the service reminders and the appointment reminders, as well as the thank yous, actually, now that I think about it, all of these can be controlled. You have the ability to set how often, or sorry, how long after their visit these should be sent out. So some people like to be a little bit more aggressive with the declined work reminders and say let's send it out 15, 30, and 45 days. Other people like to be more lax and they'll say let's send it out 30, 90, and 160 days after their visit. Just let them know this work is still pending. Service reminders, however, these are a little bit different. These are like report cards for the vehicle's health. This says here is the status report for the vehicle based on the services that have been provided and what needs to be done. And these get sent out quarterly, so every 3 months after their visit. If your customer has stayed away from your shop for a full year, they'll receive all 4 of these. Of course, if your customer comes back in after 5 months, they'll only get 1 of them. So it really depends on how long they stay away from your shop. But like I said, the system is self-correcting. And so it'll persistently send 1 email every 3 months unless they react to it, in which case the system will stop. And appointment reminders, these are exactly as you would imagine, 5 days and 1 day before their appointment, which is up to your control, how long beforehand we send these out. We'll just notify them that they have a pending appointment. And then they're back in front of you again, which is when they're back at the point of sale. So you can imagine that this cycle here is where customers are at in their life cycle at your shop. If they stop coming back in, they'll exit somewhere in between the service reminders and the appointment reminders, right around here, and that's when they go up into purgatory. And but all of these are set and forget. So thank yous, declined work, service reminders, and appointment reminders all need to be configured once, and once they have been configured, then you can just let them run. So you can imagine here, let's go into the service reminders, for example, and configure them. So service reminders, when you click on them, or if you go to today's customer contacts and select on one of the other ones, such as, let's try declined work. No, I don't have declined work in this test database. Yeah, pardon my crazy number of days after. It's just this database is 122 days old, so I don't have any customers who had a visit less than 122 days. But you can imagine yours would probably say something like 3 here, or 1 day after their visit. But like any of the email tabs inside of Service Intelligence, you will see that there are 3 tabs at the top of the screen here: the target, the offer, and the delivery. These are the who, or the target, the what, the offer, and the how, which is the delivery. So who are we targeting with this? How, or sorry, what are they getting? What's the offer? And then how are we giving it to them? How is this being delivered? So the first thing that you want to do is make sure that your target group is correct. In most cases, you don't need to change anything in here. However, some people like to say, I know I only want to send to these report cards. This is a beautiful report, by the way. God, I don't know who wouldn't want to receive one of these things. But I digress. If you did want to restrict who this is being sent to, you could do so by checking the Add Filter box here. You could say, for example, I only want to send these to people that are in my zip code in order to prevent sending postcards to people who are further away than who would end up coming into my shop. Alternatively, I could say, I want to send this to customers that have at least 2 visits or more. So that way, the first time a customer comes in, I don't send them a report that has a bunch of blank no histories. It's really up to you. In my personal recommendation, I would say don't add any filters to any of the other contacts or the service reminders. Just leave them exactly the way they are. Now, you also have, depending on which contact it is you're looking at, like the thank yous here, you have the ability to exclude customers who have been in a couple times, because sometimes it gets annoying to be asked for a review after every visit, especially if you've already left a review. So you do have the ability to exclude these guys. Declined work and appointment reminders have similar checkboxes to these. Once you're happy with the target, who are we sending this to? In this case, it's whoever deserves a thank you message. You move on to the offer, and this allows you to control what are we sending to them. Now, it is not really appropriate for the thank you messages to have a offer in them. It's kind of like, I just came in for a visit and now you're offering me money off. Why didn't you do that before I paid? But you do have the ability to modify these things, and you can change the text. You'll notice that this is a what you see is what you get, in that you modify the text here, and the text is modified on the page. So maybe I'll say, thank you. And let's add a cheesy heart in there. Why not? We greatly appreciate. Oh my God, can't spell. Greatly appreciate your business. Probably should have thought out what I was going to write in here before I started changing it, but you have time to play and change these things as you go. Please leave a review. So you can see that what we do is we change things, and then you can see it here. The fastest way in order to refresh this would be to click a customer, or alternatively just click between the boxes. So if I make a change, you just click somewhere else and you'll see that the letters get added. And just change it back and then click somewhere else. You see it'll change. Underneath, you'll have the ability to remove or add the show review link. I always recommend that you have the review link on. However, some CRM managers would like to have a specific dedicated customer feedback loop that's different than a thank you. And that would be independent. If you were sending thank yous in addition to doing a customer feedback pull, then you would want to remove the review link. But in most cases, you would leave it on. Now, in the rare circumstances in that you are offering a promotion with your thank yous, you can check this box. You'll see it'll add it right down here. This is when your line 1 and line 2 would explain what your offer is. Now, I do not recommend having an expiration, but the option is there in case you want to add it. Just like any of the other email templates that we have, you have the ability to select the image for the offer. You can do this by clicking the select image, hitting browse, and then finding the image that is best for you. So I'm going to do the CGI car with the bow on it, and we'll drop it like that. It's a little bit hard to read. Let's pick another one. Let's do bear. Sentimental. There you go. So you also have the ability to add branding on here. If you're a AAA shop, you can do that by just clicking the select images, click the change branding, and then find the branding image that you would like. In this case, let's do the post note with the thank you. You can see, even though it's a bit jagged on the edges here, the server that sends these out has a higher resolution that's actually on the machine here. So I'm going to leave it with the jagged edges. You'll see that if we were to do a test email, it would look great. So once you've figured out the target, which is who's getting this, the offers, which is what are they getting, and then you go to the delivery, and this is how they're getting it. Most of these emails, most of these are only emails. As a matter of fact, the thank yous, the declined work, and the appointment reminders are all email only currently. The service reminders are a little bit different in that they also have their own version of the postcards, but you'll see that the delivery options for the thank yous give me only email as the option. Once I'm happy with the way that the email looks, and I'm happy with the group of customers that we're sending this to each day, I will just simply click Start Auto and then hit Yes. It'll ask me which day to start from, and if I wanted to do a catch-up to make sure all the people that should have gotten a thank you in the month of August do, you just click back and you hit OK. Now, I'm not actually going to start this one only because I don't want to send out a bunch of emails to people who don't actually want them, but that's how you would do it. You'll notice that the service reminders are a little bit different in the delivery. They have email and postcard, email or postcard only. So if you have access to this page, you automatically have the emails. There's no additional cost, and there's no limit to how many emails you can send out with Service Intelligence. So feel free to turn on emails for all of these. If you are paying for the postcards, you have two options here: email and postcards, or email or postcards. I guess technically there's the fourth option of postcards only. But the difference between this is if they have an email address, should we also send them a postcard? Or if they have an email address, should we only send them that and just send a postcard to the people that we don't have emails for? While email or postcard is more economical, this may sound a bit self-serving coming from me, but it definitely is true. Postcards have a lot more weight, and they mean a lot more to the vehicle owners. So I always encourage our users to do email and postcard in all circumstances that they can. Once you've selected the one that you want, if you have postcards on your account, all you got to do is hit the Start Auto, and just like the other emails for the thank yous, these will start processing every day. So something to mention in here is that the way Service Intelligence calculates who deserves a service reminder or who deserves a thank you, it's basically looking at who has a closed invoice a certain number of days ago, or who has an appointment a certain number of days into the future. So all of these people in the 3-month group, the 6-month, the 9-month, and the 12-month all had a visit to our shop, Autobahn North, exactly 3 months ago from today's date, or exactly 6 months ago. And so we can see the status of these guys' vehicle just by clicking on the report and seeing, what services have been performed. And if this John Fleming gets this email but doesn't respond to it and another 3 months goes by, then he would show up again in 3 months under the 9-month group. So this is the Service Intelligence CRM, as well as the other customer contacts. Once again, what we did with customizing the thank yous and the service reminders is the exact same thing you would do for the declined work as well as the appointment reminders as well. Now, there's a different training on the targeted marketing promotion. This one is a trigger-based. Rather than being an automated system that you just turn on and you let it run, targeted marketing promotion is something that you need to manually trigger each time you want it to get sent out to your customers. You should definitely check out that training. It's got some good tips as well as one of my favorite campaigns in there. New customer acquisition, however, is a little bit different. This is one that you call us and let us know that you'd like to do this, and we'll go over all of the details. But the general gist of it is find me everybody in my neighborhood that is not a current customer of mine, but should be. And we'll help you find that list and put together a campaign for them. Anyways, my name is Chris. Thank you very much for joining us in this webinar. This is the service reminders as well as the other customer contacts inside of Service Intelligence. Feel free to send us an email at support@eautoclub.com or give us a call at 310-984-3501. You can reach me at extension 103, but you can get support from anyone using extension 4. Have a good day. Thank you.